What's up, everybody? It's Kyle once again with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. This is episode 259. Before I dive into it, public service announcement. We're having a 5K at the Hillsborough location this Saturday to raise money for the Hillsborough High School seniors for their project graduation. So keep that in mind. 5K, you could do that in your sleep. So try to be there. You could walk it if you need to. It's not something you really need to train for. What I'm going to talk about today, came up with the concept on Friday, which, believe it or not, usually when I do the podcast, it's just whatever's on my mind in that particular moment. But I just jotted down a little phrase that I'm just a dude, ... And I started thinking about this, right? Because I do have, for whatever reason, people will reach out to me to pick my brain about, how'd you get to that point, right? And I'm going to share with you the little bit of success I've had in life, what I've done, how this has kind of transpired. But you got to keep all this in frame of reference for where you're at in your life. I have people that will also reach out and say, well, I want to, post on your blog. Can I write an article for your blog? Which I have no relationship with some of these people. And, they kind of want to have access to the audience without putting in the work. There's people out there that tell me, again, because I don't pay attention to a lot of this stuff, but people tell me, you see what so-and-so did? They copied your exact little catchphrase, your exact catchphrase. They're wearing the glasses like you do. All this stuff, and it doesn't really make any difference to me. I mean, flattery, it's flattering when people want to emulate what you're doing. But you can't be inauthentic. People sniff that out a mile away when you are not your authentic self. So, with that in mind, I'm going to lay out what I've done that has kind of put me in a position in the fitness field to have some type of respect. But it doesn't really matter if you have respect of others. It just means that they'll listen to you a little more. But that's not what I set out to do, right? I just set out on my path to follow what was in my spirit, what was telling me and nudging me on. So I'm just a dude that reads a lot, right? I started reading really seriously about 2006. So 15 years. I mean, obviously I could read before that, but I'm talking about when I really, really became a voracious reader and student of life. I mean, books right here. There's books, see the bookshelves behind me. You can't see them, but there's hundreds and hundreds of books up there. So I read a lot. And one of the things I do when I learn something, I teach it right away. I write about it, make a podcast about it, do a seminar about it. I teach it because it cements the learning in my brain. Right? Most people read something and then they never share it with anybody. And you got to keep in mind, too, as you're learning, people will come to you when they need your help, when they're ready to learn. Don't go around telling people, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this. For example, if somebody's watching this, I know, or they're listening to this in the future, that was by their choice. They're looking for some type of coaching or advice on whatever. But don't go around telling people what they have to do. I'm just a dude that invests a lot in myself. I've always hired my own coaches, to coach me in my life. I used to go to seminars probably every month early on when me and Devin were together and married. I would be out of state probably once a month, taking time off teaching because I was still a teacher at the time, using my personal days to go to seminars to learn from people. So I've always invested in myself. And I can't even tell you the dollar amount. I mean, it's got to be six figures, after school, which, by the way, I learned very little in school, very, very little. It's the self-knowledge, right? It's self-teaching. Seek out the real true teachers that have real-world experience, right? Because when you combine that and you keep learning, and then learning, experience. That's where wisdom comes from. Right? You don't get wisdom from a book. I'm just a dude that experiments a lot. I always test stuff on myself. I always put stuff to the test. I research it. For example, this is silly, like I talked about the glasses at the beginning, but I just follow my gut, right? I follow my gut. I do think that you're going to see chromotherapy become bigger in the future. I've already started seeing other people, do the color therapy. But wearing my shooting glasses, I said, man, I feel better, so let me put these on when it makes me everything's brighter. Then I started looking at the research, right? Then I said, oh, there is something behind this. Then I said, let me get some other different colors, right? So I experiment a lot. I've experimented with my body in all types of ways, eating, medical stuff on my body. I've had doctors do experimental procedures on my body way back when I was having a lot of issues, and I would bring them to research and they would do it. And, because it wasn't like I was some crazy person. They could see that I put a lot of thought into it, a lot of research. Hey, slow down over there. Hold on 1 second, guys. So you got to experiment a lot. You got to experiment with your philosophies and your theories and see if they work. You got to experiment a lot. And then once I test them on myself, I test them on other people. And then you start to see. So again, that's where the real world experience comes from. That is so key. And that's not something that you can rush. That is not something that you can get to super fast, right? You can't do it. Just a dude that puts out a lot of content. I've been writing now. When I was teaching, 2006, started a business in 2007. And by the way, we just had our 10-year anniversary for the first facility. I didn't even realize that, but that was pretty cool. When Rip Van Winkle came with the cake last Monday for me. And, I guess in the back of my mind, I knew it was around that time. But again, when you're not focused on that, you're not focused on the end result, right? You're just focused on the journey. So I'm just a dude that puts out a lot of content. Again, that has a lot of power, right? When people, to me, right, like people need to develop, talk about the fitness field, their ability to write. I know everybody just wants to make videos now and all that, but I still write a lot more than I make videos. Still write a lot, and it's, if you had asked me that I would like writing way back 10, 15 years ago and do it voluntarily, I would have told you were crazy. But the content, right, then people start to listen to your message. And again, you're not doing your message, you're not putting it out there, you shouldn't be to attract, to become popular, right? It's okay. If what I have to say can help people, they'll find it. They'll find it if I put out enough of it, right? And it's that just consistent effort. When I was teaching, every lunch break, every prep period I have, I'll be writing, I'll be working on the business. Right? There was no shortcuts. All overnight success takes at least 10 years. Right? So when I see some of these young people and they're just trying to be, authentic and copy, it's okay. Success leaves clues, but you got to be yourself, and you got to embrace yourself. To me, the weirdest thing in the world is not to be weird. It's to try to copy somebody else and be that person. That's weird to me. Because there's no way somebody will feel good if they're just emulating somebody else, right? You got that song, that unique song inside of you that needs to come out. It's up to you whether you let it out. Just a dude that lives by my principles. I know what my moral compass is. I know what principles, what guides me in life, and I live by them. I believe in integrity. Right? So if you do this stuff and you act with integrity and you're not trying to pull one over on people, then your reputation can start to gain some traction, right? And your reputation is everything. Your reputation is everything. I mean, those are just some of the things that, I set out to do. Those are action items, right? Those aren't, I got to become the top author with this. Like I think about with writing, it's still a big website. I haven't been on it in years, but I used to write on my prep periods for Elite FTS. And one year I was nominated for Author of the Year on their website. I'm just writing on my prep breaks at that point at lunch when I'm teaching. And it's, people started reading it. People started liking it. So, that's, what you got to keep in mind, right? And I remembered, for example, Dave Tate, who people in the fitness industry would know. He's still an awesome guy. He owns that company, Elite FTS. He actually let me interview him for 2 hours one day because I would put so much effort into writing for his company. And he wouldn't just do interviews for anybody. So that was a really cool thing, to be able to do that. And going back to investing in yourself, I would pay local businessmen to take them out to lunch when I was teaching, pick their brain on business. I would set up phone calls with people in the industry on my lunch breaks, talk to them, pay them for their time, of course, or at least make the offer to do that. And that's what you guys don't see a lot, right? You don't see, or you haven't seen that. And I'm just telling you that because, again, when I sit outside and I just have time to let thoughts come to me, stuff will pop in my head. Not long ago, we had a group of friends over, and what's going on, Sam? How you doing, buddy? And the two of the guys that were in the group were talking. I do not like. I'm very introverted, right? I'm very introverted. I'm passionate about what I learn and what I can teach. But the one guy said, the other guy, Kyle learned this. He knows this about the brain and the body, blah blah. And the one guy says, yeah, I go to him before I go to the doctors to find out. The other guy says, oh yeah. But again, it's funny when you look at my path, right? It wasn't set out to be, okay, I want people to think that about me. It was just follow your passion and you continue to learn. And I've got there's a book over there that I've probably read 3 times already, pulled it out again last night because there's more in that book I got to pull out, right? And it's like, man, I got to go back and now look at that with fresh eyes. And, but you are just a dude, a dudette, whatever you want to call it, if you happen to listen to this. Follow your path, your own path. That's where life is exciting. And realize that you have everything you already need. You already have everything. If you think you got to attain some type of status before you do anything, or if that's your actual, your line of thought, you're on the wrong path. These are processes. Do these things, or have your own list that you do day in, day out, week in, week out, right? My one affirmation that I write down every morning is I'm committed to taking the actions I need to take to make my dreams a reality. And that's a lot of mental work, visualization, meditation, writing, reading, connecting with people with different business practices. But that's what I focus on. It's not, okay, I want to become a billionaire. No, it's follow this. Take the actions you need to take. Commit to them every single day. Slow and steady wins the race. And the basics will always, the basics that are tried and true, and you think about strength training, they'll always be the best. They'll always be the go-to, right? They're not necessarily flashy, but they'll always be the best. And when you follow your path, I went for a walk with a client the other day. And, man, he's probably trained on and off with me since 2009, maybe. So he's seen a lot of the progression. And we're going over nutrition, going over training, and he said it seems he couldn't get his mind around one thing I was telling him, but then he said, well, he goes, I will say you always seem to be about 5 years ahead of the curve. Now, how does that happen? That happens because you're always learning. Like, I'm not saying me, but when you're always learning and you go with your gut and you experiment and you listen to the clues, you read the tea trees, the tea leaves, you read them, and then you don't worry about what other people think. Right, that's where a lot of people get caught up. They start worrying about what other people are going to think of them if they follow their path. People are attracted to people that are authentic, right? If you are an authentic person, you're going to be a magnet because other people want to be their authentic self as well. I'm telling you, that's where life is the most richest. when you can be your own weirder self and embrace the fact that we're all weird. Don't try to fit in with everybody. You fit in to some degree, but that shouldn't be your sole focus, right? That shouldn't be your sole focus. Be yourself, follow your own path, create your unique stack. I've made a podcast about this in the past. That is like your unique thumbprint, fingerprint, right? You start putting together this stack. Like for me, it was training knowledge, right? Then it was nutrition, then it was writing, then it was marketing, how to market a business, how to grow a business, that type of thing. Then it was mind mapping. So I have this stack that is, and you all have a stack is my point, but it's like my own fingerprint, right? It's unique to me, right? And as you keep enhancing that, there should be nobody else in the world that has your unique stack. So please keep that in mind. Again, we have a 5K as I wrap up this episode this Saturday at the Hillsborough location. Anybody's welcome to raise money for the Hillsborough High School seniors for their project graduation. They haven't been able to put on any of their fundraising stuff this year. So keep that in mind. You can go to newellstrength.com/5K, put your name on the list. All proceeds will go to them. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe on iTunes if you haven't. You could also find it on my YouTube channel. I believe that's Kyle Newell 1000. And cool. All right, guys. You all have a good day. Thanks for the support.